So give me your thoughts, Barbie.
Yeah. Start like just general impression. I think it's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is a it's a pretty, I don't want to say anything's like perfect, but I will say it is a beautifully made, impressive piece of art that is also a pop culture toy.
Yeah. I think it's got a lot of heart to it.
Product-ish thing, but it is a really beautifully crafted movie. And I don't know really many things that are close to it or try to do what it tried to do.
It's very different. Sure.
And out of all the conversations I've had with many people since it's come out, I mean, it's everybody loves it.
Yeah.
And
it's good.
Like everybody wants to see it. I mean, it's great.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna get into some spoilers.
I mean, how do you feel about it before we do that?
So I'm not as in love with it as you are. I did see it when I was sick, so it kind of lowered my experience a bit.
I thought he was crying sometimes.
Yeah,
which I was like, cool.
I mean, there were emotional parts for sure.
Yeah.
But no, my nose was running pretty bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Even Ryan next to us, he was sick too, and I was like,
both of you are crying.
My boys are crying at the Barbie movie.
No. But no, I did really I had a really good time.
Yeah.
I think like easily Ryan Gosling and Margot Robbie just like they're what made the movie for me. Even as much heart as there is in this, I think if their performances weren't there, I'm not sure I would be like that gung-ho about it. Because they do such a great job of like playing these like doofus airheaded characters, and then when faced with like real challenges, they get so emotional and like real. And I'm like, this is like your full range here, and I'm so happy to see it in a Barbie movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's all I can really say without spoilers.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So movie starts really nice. You just get thrown into Barbie land.
Yeah. With a Lizzo song.
Yeah.
That is kind of is like a narration of what is going on.
Right.
At the opening scene.
I forgot about that.
And then it changes the lyrics to a much darker tone.
Right.
Which I thought was really smart.
No, for sure. Favorite part of that was probably that beach scene in the beginning.
Really? That was your favorite?
From the intro. Like, their introduction to Barbie Land. Like just all the Ken saying hi to Barbie, and then you have like Simu Liu's Ken and Ryan Gosling's Ken beefing, and I don't know. I thought it was good.
That was your favorite part of the movie?
Of the whole, no, I said of the intro.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, not the whole movie. Favorite part of that movie though, I might have to say it's that it might have to be that Ken fight.
It's pretty good.
It's a pretty great fight.
It's a pretty.
I'm not gonna lie.
When I was watching it, I was my mouth was kind of open. I was like, I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I think they did a really great job of building out that Barbie world. I mean, just they look like real sets, and I'm pretty sure they were.
Yeah.
And yeah, it looked like they were toys, and yeah, it all really worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess like it also set up the rest of the movie where you like clearly showed this dynamic where like all the Barbies are in control and all the Kens are just like lower beings almost. Yeah. And so basically Barbie gets these thoughts of death and her feet get flat. And they go to the human world, and Ken kind of sneakily follows her. And I love the transition from Barbie to the human world, the way they have to get there through the car, and then
that's all practical effects apparently.
That's great. That's great. And then they just kind of skate into LA. Not sure why it's LA, but that's fine with me. But yeah, I think
Mattel headquarters, I guess.
Okay, so they just spawn in the city that Mattel lives in.
I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, I think they did a good job of showing them kind of like fish out of water. And yeah, I think yeah, they go on two separate paths, and I think that's pretty great to show. Ryan Gosling's Ken is not on a great path.
Yes. No, yes.
But he's on a path of learning.
Yes.
And so is Barbie. But she's learning.
But it's a path that makes sense.
No, yeah, totally. If you've been oppressed your entire life, why would you not want to go for a patriarchy, I guess? Yeah. So no, it makes total
somebody
sense.
like
right
is like talking to you like you matter.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that
patriarchies have horses. So
yeah. But this movie's gonna be quoted for years and years.
Yeah, for sure.
Because everybody I meet, or not, well,
Everybody.
me, talk to, we're just constantly quoting like things from that movie.
Yeah.
You know, especially the horses part.
Yeah. But speaking of the human world, I kind of loved Mattel, even though they were like goofy to like level 10. They felt like they were in the Barbie land almost, which I guess could kind of make sense for why Barbie land is how it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought Will Ferrell was great as the CEO.
And he wasn't necessarily evil.
No. I think Mattel was very like, they allowed the creators of this movie to like make jokes about them, but it felt like they were like, no, we don't want to be the villain of this movie. And they were just a force that was going against Barbie. They just wanted her back in Barbie land. There wasn't like a big, plot to overthrow Barbie or anything. And they weren't even supportive of Ken. They were like, what are we doing with Ken selling out?
I think they just were like, nobody wants this movie to feel like Mattel wants to be seen as like the good guys.
Right.
I feel like they handled it, at least Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach handled it in a way that was just really interesting to me, because this movie feels like something that could only come out now.
Yeah.
Because of being so self-aware of how people are perceived and the internet. And I think everybody was very aware of how people would feel about certain topics. And they were able to basically have Mattel fit into that stereotype of, it's a company, they only care about money.
Right, they're corporate doofuses.
They weren't like evil, they weren't the good guys. They were just, they only cared about money.
Just one-tracked corporate bosses.
But it's also funny because as much as this movie is obviously about money, because every movie is about making money to some degree.
Right.
This was obviously something that Mattel was like, they could have just made a movie they could have okayed any movie that was just pap and surface level and just fun.
Right.
Which is also a complaint that I thought was interesting that I would hear from people who were, because I had been saying
it was surface level?
Well, what I was saying for a long time was I thought this movie was going to be like a Trojan horse. It was going to be something that people were like, oh, it's just, it's going to be fun. And then I was thinking everyone's going to leave with a much deeper, movie, which is exactly what they got. Yeah. And even more, it went deeper than I thought it would go. And, but some people where I've heard, in around me just go, it was just, I just wanted it to be fun, and it got too like,
I know some
deep.
people thought it got a little preachy, which look, I can't blame you. Like maybe some of those speeches went on a little long, but I think it served such a better, like it served such a purpose for a better story, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Is like, if we had just this fun movie and it was surface level, I'm not sure I would love it. You know, I think it needed that ending scene with Barbie and the creator of Barbie and Barbie realizing she can be whoever she wants. Yeah. And I don't know. I thought there were a lot of, maybe not a lot, but there were a few really beautiful moments in that movie that I think, make it an actual movie,
Yeah. I agree. And what I was, I guess, trying to get to is they, as much as it is about money, they okayed a movie that wasn't just surface level, just fun.
Yeah.
It was a movie that had something to say.
Right. Yeah.
And I think it handled all the ideas of femininity, consumerism, patriarchy, being a woman in, a man's world.
Yeah.
Conveying the flip side, through the Kens, through the Barbie world.
Right. Yeah, because I was almost worried that, it wouldn't go deep and that they would just be like, well, the Kens are back to being our slaves, basically, and we're just going to rule the world again. And I'm just, no, but it wasn't that. They made the Kens realize they had worth and gave them a place in their society. Yeah. And so I don't know. I think it's a really wonderfully wrapped story at the end there.
Yeah. And I also think that people who find this movie preachy, I won't take that away, that like, if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. But to anybody who, and this is mostly goes towards men, who watch this movie and are deeply offended and triggered.
Right.
Like, I don't know what to tell you. You got
a little looking at yourself there.
Like,
yeah.
If you can't take what this movie's like throwing at you,
right?
Like, I don't know, man. Like, it's
really not saying that all men are bad. It really isn't.
This is, and it's not saying that like women are all perfect either, or anything. There's none of that agenda. And I'm just frustrated that like I knew like there was gonna be a bit of that, but it's just frustrating every single time. Just grow up. It's not attacking men. Yeah, it is just. And it's okay to have criticism. It is, and it's been like that for a while. And I think they handled what it means to, maybe not like super deeply, but I do think that they handled like what it means to be a man. Doesn't need to be like what they originally think it is.
Right.
Like, and especially in the song, like, I'm just Ken. There is a arc there.
Yeah, absolutely there
and
is.
It in the song, and it's it's great. And like, that's the, I guess I don't want to get too deep into stuff, but you know, just being a guy is enough.
Yeah,
that's all. You don't have to be whatever. You can just and you are enough. You are Ken enough. And that's what it's about. And it's, I don't know, I just find it frustrating that that's like something that people like,
Yeah, I feel you.
But regardless, I think this movie really handled the plasticness of the Barbie world.
Oh yeah, I mean, everything looked great,
and the real and then just really getting into like the nitty gritty with like the mom's daughter. I forget their names, but like she's just like going straight into her about what Barbie is and and apparently. I don't know if it's true, but they all are apparently dressed like the Bratz dolls.
Really?
Like the classic Bratz dolls. Because that was that was like,
competitor. Yeah.
And like that was a complete the answer to Barbie, because Barbie was like the perfect doll. And I've talked to people who were like, I don't know if I even want to see the Barbie movie because Barbies as a kid always made me feel as like a girl to like I wasn't good enough because I never looked like those Barbies. And I feel like this movie addressed
really puts
that.
a different spin on it.
And I was like, I feel like that's why we should watch, because I don't think it's going, and that's what I was saying, like that's where the movie seems like that, and then you see it and you're like, no, it talked about that.
I think this this did kind of wonders for Barbie's image, like this movie.
Yeah. And Ken.
Well, yeah, for sure. Yeah. And Alan.
The only thing about the movie that I and it's not like a big complaint. It's not really a complaint. It's just I wish Alan had an arc. Yeah. That's all.
I said that I think right outside the movie to you guys. I was like, yeah, I mean, at least Midge got some like explanation, but Alan was just like, he was just randomly thrown in and just kind of randomly a part of the group. And I mean,
he's just a badass, I guess.
Was he a badass?
He like beat up all those Kens or whoever.
Oh yeah, I guess I forgot about
When they were
that.
trying to leave.
That's funny. Yeah, I mean, I remember, I was gonna bring up the fact that he tried to escape Barbie Land with the mother and daughter.
Yeah.
yeah,
And he beat them all up.
That was then.
I think so. And he's like, I'll never.
Oh yes, you're right. Holy, I forgot about that scene. Yeah, with the construction worker guys. Yeah.
I think
they were working on the road, right? I thought. I don't know. Whatever.
He beat up a bunch of Kens.
Yeah. No, but Michael Cera was pretty great as Alan, even though he didn't have an arc.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I would have liked that. I think that might be like my only kind of big complaint about it. Because I really don't have any complaints.
I think the dialogue was great. I think the only maybe I could see somebody having a complaint that the Barbies and the Kens don't necessarily, like, you could almost see it as like coming from a kid's perspective. They don't really have it like when Ken's like, I think I should come over tonight. And they're like, to do what? And they're like, I don't know. But then they'd have like Barbie would go into the real world. And maybe you could say it's because she's getting all these influences and feelings from the mom that was playing with her.
Right.
But she seemed to have like knowledge of like more nuanced things and like things of the real world. Like for example, like she would say like, I don't have a vagina, or like she would be like,
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Have these like critiques about culture.
Well, it was also interesting that
which was interesting.
Everyone was aware though too that like they were in Barbie Land and that there was an actual real world out there.
They were like, we fixed the real world.
Yeah,
like,
right.
You know, because
they're empowering women and right.
But yeah, no, I mean,
look, the logic doesn't have to make perfect sense.
No.
I think that's like the fun part of the movie.
Yes.
And I mean, obviously the logic makes zero sense with how they get back and forth to the real world.
Yeah.
But you know, it's funny and it works.
Yeah. And I knew the Billie Eilish song before we watched the movie.
Oh yeah. I don't honestly remember most of the songs at this point.
Man, I keep listening to the soundtrack.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, the Billie Eilish song is like the big moment at the end with this like James Turrell-esque changing light background that's beautiful and like surreal-ish. But throughout the movie, they'd play like the motif in the background of that song. And like every single time I'd get like chills. I'd be like, oh, this is... And then by the time it got to that part, I was like...
You're like, yeah, this is working for me.
I was just...
Yeah.
It was just emotional.
Nice.
It was... Yeah.
Yeah. Well...
It just felt like a big buildup because they would have like every now and then these emotional moments and that would be the motif. And it just felt like a little... To me, like it felt like a great trick in the way that like your brain got used to like when those notes would come in it was emotional, and so it was like this big like release when the whole thing started playing.
I'll have to listen to it again.
Yeah.
Nice. But yeah, I think that's our thoughts on Barbie, right? We both really like it.
Yeah. And I think funny enough, like it's like Ryan Gosling's Ken is definitely one of the best cinematic characters.
Yeah.
And it feels weird because this movie is about Barbie, but
he's such an integral part of this movie. Yeah.
And I don't know I hate to bring up like sequels because I don't necessarily like, now that I get older, I'm like,
I don't want a sequel for this.
We don't need sequels, but it's probably going to get one because
I think so.
It just made $1 billion.
But Mattel's got a lot of other movies on board here. You know, like
so does DC, and they were like, we're making a Joker too.
I feel ya. It's just like this movie absolutely doesn't need it, which is frustrating.
And you know, Greta Gerwig was saying like, I don't even know
what I would do for you, right?
But you know, if Todd Phillips can come up with like this cool musical-esque idea for Joker 2, like, but regardless, I don't know if you can. I think the right script and the right people can make a Barbie movie work without Margot and Ken, or Margot and Ryan Gosling, but they sold the movie.
Oh, I would need them again.
And Margot was like, it's crazy. She is like unifiably like Barbie.
Oh yeah.
Unifiably Harley Quinn.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's now like two characters, just like that is. And
and they're so different, like absolutely on opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
well,
yeah. I mean,
kind of. Kind of.
One's absolutely chaotic, and the other is a very uptight, perfect woman. You know, at least at the beginning, she is.
Yeah. I guess I guess I was leaning towards like more because they're both so animated, as opposed to like one being like a more like not natural, but you know, like more down to earth ish sort of portrayal. Like if you were like a Tony Soprano and you were like, that's like, you know, or like that's Walter White, or like, you know, it's like that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, she's now iconic for like two things, if not more. I don't even know.
She's great in everything, honestly.
I know. It's kind of infuriating. But not infuriating as in the sense that like, why can't I be good at all of these? Like, why can't, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
She's like good in everything.
I feel you.